ज्योति स्टेनो टाइपिंग कॉलेज में आप सभी का स्वागत है बच्चों। ये ऑफलाइन ऑनलाइन दोनों के लिए क्लास है। ये मैराथन डिक्टेशन है। इसमें हम इकट्ठी 4 डिक्टेशन पढ़ेंगे और जो है ये आपको टाइप करनी होंगी 90 मिनट के अंदर, ठीक है। डिक्टेशन स्टार्ट आफ्टर 5 सेकेंड। Mr. Vice Chairman, sir, it is being widely propagated that agricultural production has progressed a lot after the imposition of the internal emergency in India. Our minister has said that it has reached up to 116 million tons. But I cannot agree with that statement because we, the people of Kerala, are getting 4 ounces of ration of rice. If it has improved much, I would like to ask the minister as to why did he give up the allotted quota. I admit that there is a little improvement in agricultural production, but it is not because of the policy or planned policy of the government, but it is because of the good monsoon reached self sufficiency, whereas our neighboring countries like China and our other socialist countries, which were more backward than us in the early years, have reached self sufficiency. What is our condition? We have been searching for food. We have been depending on the foreign imperialist countries for the import of food. Sir, I would like to know about the progress in implementing land reforms. Can the minister say that the land reforms and the sealing laws have been implemented in India? He cannot say so because the statistics are here. He has replied to a question in this house that only 9 lakh acres of land have been declared surplus and 2 lakh acres of land have been distributed. I think that at least 250 years will be necessary to implement these land reforms. It proves that you are not ready to implement these land reforms. You stand for the well being of the landlords and not for the poor peasants. It is an admitted fact that many of the congressmen elected to the state assemblies and parliament are from the landless families of rural areas. That is why you are not ready to implement these land reforms in India. Moreover, it is interesting to note that out of 1 lakh acres of land that has been distributed, nearly 42,000 acres of land were distributed by the Janta Front Ministry. Many of the landlords, with the help of this government, have been transferred their lands as Benami lands. Moreover, some landlords transferred their lands in the name of their house dogs and animals to overcome the land reforms. And it is a wonderful thing that the central government is coming forward with a bill to legalize these Benami transfers. In West Bengal, during the time of the United Front Ministry, peasants were able to occupy 6 lakh acres of land. But now, with the help of the present government, the landlords are trying to reoccupy these lands. It is a pitiable thing. Another important thing I would like to point out is the steep fall in the prices of agricultural products, especially the commercial crops like coffee, etc. Honorable Vice Chairman, Sir, I stand to congratulate the Agriculture Ministry for raising the position of India from the status of food deficit to food self reliance. Really, it is a very happy occasion to express my thanks to the Agriculture Ministry. Not only has the Agricultural Ministry managed to raise the production, the present policy of the government has made us to believe that India can export food in a few years. Really, it is a very heartening thought in India. The Agriculture Ministry deserves congratulations as it has not only managed to produce more but it has ensured future production of the country by amicable settlement of the long standing river disputes. My friend has just expressed that this heavy event of agricultural production in India is not due to the initiative taken by the Ministry of Agriculture. He wants to say that it is due to monsoon. But I want to lay emphasis on the fact that it is due to emergency. The 20-point program and the initiative taken by the ministry. This pessimism has done enough harm to the country. So I request my friend to put a halt to such pessimism being spread in the country. Another serious allegation has been made that Congress MPs are not sincere about land reforms. But I would like to remind the length and breadth of the country. The Congress MPs undertook Panda Yatras for bringing about land reforms. On no occasion did any public man make these allegations. I request my friend to withdraw this serious charge. I throw down my gauntlet as a challenge. He is to prove his allegation. I say that is totally false and is not based on truth. Sir, I thank the ministry for its decision to establish an agricultural research complex in the eastern region. I hope this research institute will take initiative to persuade the tribal people to take to stabilized cultivation in place of jhum cultivation. The jhum system of cultivation has not only done enough harm to the forest wealth but it is adding momentum to the floods in the valley. This research center should take the initiative to make a study and put a stop to jhum system of cultivation among the tribal people. Sir, Assam has shown progress in matters of land reform and procurement of paddy. It has exceeded the target of procurement fixed earlier. The floods in the state of Assam are an annual feature. The average annual loss in Assam due to floods in rupees 170 crores. This year has been a floodless year. Even then, the damage came to rupees 120 crores. In spite of all this havoc caused by the Brahmaputra, the country should regard this mighty river as one of the greatest boons to the country because of its vast resources. Apart from producing energy, it provides water for irrigation purposes, drinking purposes, and for transportation of goods. Sir, I would like to say a few words about ex soldiers about whom so much has been said. I think we ought to do a little more than what we have been doing for our ex soldiers, particularly because they are retired at a very early age. They can still do very useful service to the country. We have many forces like the border security force. Many states have their armed constabulary. We have the railway protection force, and then we have the new industrial security forces. I think instead of retiring our Jawans and other officers, we could straightway absorb them into these services because in such a case he is a trained man and he can be made use of immediately, and he can be paid whatever he was being paid there, and he can serve till the time he can give useful service. I think we could do that instead of just throwing them on the street without making any provision. Of course, it is necessary that he should be retired from the armed forces because in the armed forces they have a way of working. They want to maintain a particular age group and they want to maintain a particular level of readiness. They cannot keep men after they have passed beyond a limit of physical efficiency and other efficiency. That I can understand. We do not want that the armed forces should be saddled with people whom they do not want, but after they are retired, these people could be useful in the various services that I have mentioned, like the police and other forces. Probably they are such much better stuff than what we are getting at present. There should be some such systems by which at least the bulk of them after retirement from the armed forces could be observed right away in these services, and they can be allowed to work till they reach their age of retirement in the normal course. In this way, we would have done something to them for the great sacrifices they have made for the country. In the end, I will take this opportunity of paying a tribute to our Jawans who are the basic sheet anchor of our national security. They are making tremendous sacrifices and they are serving us in very difficult position where we would not even like to go. They are doing a tremendous service to the country, and whatever emoluments we might give them would not be enough to match their sacrifices. So we must pay due respect to them and we must have their welfare in our mind all the time, and whenever occasion arises we must try to do something for them. Whatever little we might be giving them, They are there for the love of the country because they are the brought up in certain army traditions because they are prepared for to work and even sacrifice their lives for the country. They are our greatest assets. They are trained force. Now, having said that, I would like to recapitulate what has been stated by several honorable members about the defense requirements of our country and the threat that we fact. It is with that background that we can judge as to whether the various arrangements that have been made, the steps that we have taken are reasonably sufficient, are adequate to meet the type of threat that we face. In this connection, I am glad that there has been a noticeable maturity even in assessing the threat to us as was evidenced by the debate today. Sir, there was a stage when we were prone to take a rather alarmist view, but by and by the country is getting accustomed to the threat that is posed to us that we face and we view in it in the proper perspective. We do not hit the roof on the slightest pretext. That I think is a sign of maturity, a sign of growth, a sign of development, a sign of strength also. If I may add, the threat that we face is from our neighbors Pakistan and China, and we have tried to give that as objectively as we could in our report. Maybe being in the defense ministry, our language has not got that polish and luster which should normally be in presentation where external relations are involved. The leader of Jan Sangh made a reference to the Indian Ocean and the withdrawal of the British from that area. That is a matter which has been discussed on the floor of this house, and I have made statements, and the external affairs minister has also made statements. And when I discuss that aspect, I will again restate our position. But I would like to say that our coastal defense and defense of our islands is very essential part of our overall defense. The withdrawal of the British forces is one aspect more, I think, a matter of external relations than defense. Our essential defense is defense of our coastal line, defense of our islands. In this connection, I would like to say that we have to approach this subject with a certain measure of confidence. It is true that trade is very important measure of confidence. It is true that trade is very important for us, but is case of real emergency when we are defending our country, we have to make a careful assessment as to what the minimum resources are in certain essential commodities. We are luckily more or less self sufficient in food now. Most of our internal requirements we can look after ourselves. We can always have enough of stockpiles to keep our machinery going. It has been rightly mentioned that the cost of navy is somewhat less as compared to that of the army. It is correct, and to understand the reasons for it, we have to look at our map and the geopolitical situation. ये वेबसाइट के ऊपर लगा दी गई है, इसका नाम है वहाँ पर मैराथन डिक्टेशन नंबर 2। इस क्लास में इतना ही बच्चों, नमस्कार बच्चों।